evening. You're watching Pill Talks with Ellory.
And Phoebe.
Tonight we'll be discussing coping up against the pandemic while also addressing how it affects our mental health.
But first, let me share the reason behind our title. Pillow Talks doesn't necessarily mean that it's an intimate conversation between lovers. Because in here, it means it's a safe space for us to talk. Most of the deepest conversations happen late at night. Therefore, the name Pillow Talk. And don't mind us in our sleepers because we decided to make the theme a sleepover to be comfortable.
Now that we have that one cleared, let's talk about the pandemic that took away the 2 years of our lives. As we all know, COVID-19 is an infection disease that came from a large family of viruses that can spread through coughing, sneezing, speaking, or even breathing. Over 4 million died and 200 plus million cases in the world.
People are feeling blue and still suffering every day fighting this virus. So the earth is counting on us to fix everything that we have lost.
Now for the rules of our interview, we'll have one guest at a time and is given a question picked from the bowl randomly.
So the guests won't have any idea what would they get to maintain the excitement of the show.
Prepare your pillows for our first guest. Please welcome Miss Khay Sadiwa.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting me in this show.
Good evening to you, Kay.
Good evening too.
Thank you for accepting our invitation even if it's late at night. Now for your question, which will be picked here. Should people our age watch the news? What if it triggers our anxiety?
Okay. So watching the news is like having a glimpse of the world, even just by staying at home. And seeing constant news will surely increase our anxiety and panics, right? But then if we only stay updated through social medias, we might get the wrong information. So I think that we should just focus on reliable sources or news and limit our intake once or twice per day. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us, Miss Kay. You may now leave the meeting.
Thank you for inviting me again, and it is really a pleasure to be interviewed by you.
For our next guest, please welcome Mr. Rheynald Cubico.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for having me in this show.
Good evening, Mr. Rheynald.
Thank you to you too. Now for your question. What are the pros and cons of using gadgets during this pandemic?
I think the pros are it helps us stay connected with people through online. School is held online too, and it is a great tool to keep ourselves busy and occupied. And we also use this to stay updated about the events or news. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts. You may now leave the meeting. Our interviews are going smoothly so far. Isn't that right, Ellory?
It very much is. Our first two guests were all smart for their age.
Right. Now let's see what Mr. Ralph Benedict has for us.
Good evening. Sorry, I'm not really used to talking to people.
All is good, Ralph. Just relax as I pick your question. What do you like or not like about school right now?
Um, I would say that school is a lot of different right now because of the pandemic that came it. What I don't like about is not all teachers are.
Rob, are you okay? You seem a little tense.
Yeah, why don't you relax a bit and focus on one thought at a time so we can better understand you.
I'm so sorry. as I was saying, not all teachers are considered regarding the students. Plus, it's more fun during face-to-face class because you can bond with your classmates and have fun while learning. School before is a lot more challenging than today. I'm not saying it's easy, but students can cheat whenever they want and not get caught. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you for answering, Ralph. You can now relax and leave the meeting.
Phew, that went a little bumpy.
Yeah, poor guy. He must have felt anxious while doing the interview.
Let's have a break first. We have 3 more guests to come when we come back after a 5-minute break.
So now let's talk about the importance of mental health amidst COVID-19. These difficult times has affected our mental health needs. This is not only relevant but critical topic. You know, mental health is more than the presence or absence of a mental illness. It is a crossroad between emotional, psychological, and a physical well-being. Unfortunately, the pandemic has impacted many people that led to the self and social isolation, disconnection from family and friends, quarantines and lockdown that result to experiencing of helplessness, grief, anxiety, and depression. This is made us to lose hope. Salina Mia, Regional Manager of UNB of Regional Office for Asia, believes that acting together, we can remove the stigma around the mental health. For this work, we need to advocate against mental health stigma as people with mental health conditions still often experience severe human rights and discrimination. So don't be afraid to speak up and seek assistance whenever you feel unwell or mentally distressed. So set time aside to breathe. Know it is okay to ask help. Set daily routines that includes being creative and do the things that you love. So stay informed through reliable sources and always remember, you are not alone.
You're still watching?
Pillow Talks, where you can relax while listening to us. So for our next guest, let's have Miss Janine Lazia.
Miss Janine.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for inviting me in this show.
So Miss Janine, I have your question, and your question is, what do you do when a loved one has passed in the midst of this pandemic?
Grieving is a lot harder this time because of the pandemic. We can't invite other people to grieve with us, and that's when you start to feel lonely. But seeking help is important among your community and trusted professionals to help you overcome this situation.
Thank you for that wonderful answer. Now you can leave the Zoom.
It's getting a little late, Ellory, but we're finally down to our final guest.
Okay, we will make this one quick so we can all rest. For our final guest, please welcome Miss Arianne De Pedro. So, Miss Arianne, I have here your question, and your question is, since most of us are staying at home, what advice should you give to keep everyone from feeling lonely and isolated?
Thank you for your question, Miss Ellory. I think the advice that I can give is find something you can be busy with, like your hobbies, school works, household chores, or even social media. Because for me, these are the best tools to keep you out of boredom and keep you stay productive. And also communicate. I know it's hard to communicate if you're feeling lonely, but I believe it can be a big help to you if you try to reach out for others and let them feel that you are always ready to listen to them and be with them no matter what happens. That's all.
Thank you for that wonderful answer. Now you can leave.
Thank you.
So that sums up all the guests we have for tonight.
They all shared strong insights about the pandemic and mental health issues.
We don't want another case of suicide because of depression, so please reach out to people if you're struggling. We are always ready to help you. You just have to ask for it because apparently some people won't notice it right away. Ask for help. You can survive this.
And please don't forget to stay protected while going outside. As much as possible, don't forget the pandemic is still happening and no one knows when it ends. We're not refraining you from enjoying your life, of course not. Enjoy your life the way you want it to. But don't forget to protect yourself, okay?
This is such a warm, comforting evening with you, Ellory, and our guests, of course.
Sadly, we have to end this, but please stay tuned for our next episodes. Once again, this is Pillow Talks.
A safe space for everyone, where you can relax while listening to us. Have a pleasant evening.